winds even as we go into early next week. Then it finally takes that turn to Georgia, South Carolina, and Wilmington, North Carolina getting
lately, past few years, Irene, Joaquin, Matthew, Irma, all major hurricanes, and Irma the Cat 5. So for the Bahamas, those hurricane force conditions arriving Sunday, already starting to feel tropical storm conditions as we go deeper into the night, and dangerous, life-threatening flooding rain, storm surge, and wind, all of the above, especially from the Abaco Islands and over to Grand Bahama Island itself. Waves already arriving, huge waves with this at least 20 feet high. And for the Bahamas especially, again, watching Abaco Island up first, then Grand Bahama Island, Sunday through Sunday night, then it hooks up the East Coast. We see 150 mile an hour winds. It is enough to do a lot of damage. All right, our thoughts will be with those folks. They've seen it coming. I know the National Hurricane Center has been working with the meteorological service there in the Bahamas as well. So what do you need in your to-go kit if you're preparing that and need to take action? Here is Shelley Lindblade.
Intensify without much advanced warning. This is why it is important to be prepared long before the storm strikes. A big part of being prepared is having an easy-to-carry survival kit ready to go, referred to as a go kit.
You should be able to have it, grab it. It should be somewhere where you know where it is, readily accessible, and you should be able to walk out the door with it in a few minutes and go and be able to survive for the next 3 days.
We often hear people not take the tropical storms and even Category 1 hurricanes as seriously, but we have to take each and every storm seriously. Look at those hazards it's going to produce.
It is best to store items in airtight plastic bags and to put your entire disaster supplies kit into 1 or 2 easy-to-carry containers, such as a tote or a duffel bag. So what should go in your go kit? At a minimum, we can break the essentials down into a top 10 list. The first is water, at least 1 gallon per person per day. Second, food, plenty of non-perishable, easy-to-prepare items that add up to a 3-day supply. Other essentials include health-related items such as a first aid kit, prescription medicines, blankets, and personal hygiene products. In the event of power outages, make sure to have a portable charger for electronic devices. Carry cash, as credit cards and ATMs may not work if power is out. And finally, 2 sets of identifying documents round out the list. 1 set of personal documents, such as a proof of address or birth certificate, and also a set of emergency contacts.
If you have pets, make sure that you have things prepared and ready for your pets. Also, all of the things that you would have if they have their vaccinations and whatnot, all those things are important if you go, especially if you go to a shelter.
All of these items are inexpensive, easy to find, and most importantly, can save your life in the event that a hurricane threatens or strikes your area. For Weather Nation, I'm meteorologist Shelley Lindblade.
Excellent information. Thank you so much, Shelley. Stay with us as our team coverage is just getting started on major.
I guess you want a different family, a different life. Well, it isn't going to happen. This is what you got.
All of this has been for you.
To love somebody, you got to take it and hold on to it.
If you're looking for a great deal on a new Toyota, look no further than Toyota's National Clearance Event. Come in soon because, before you know it, the last of the 2019s will be gone. I know. They're gone. This is Chime, a mobile bank account and debit card. With Chime, there are no hidden fees, so I never have to worry about overdraft or monthly fees. Chime also helps me grow my savings automatically. My purchases are rounded up and added to my Chime savings account, helping me to save without even thinking about it. And I can even get my paycheck up to 2 days early with direct deposit. It's banking the way it should be.
Start banking with Chime today at chime.com.
Whoops. Looks like your broke for payment. No worries. Dave can help. Dave can spot you up to $75 right now. Download Dave now.
Obsessed with true crime? Binge on the go with podcast Fast One's killer lineup.
But then the squawk of a police radio sounded in the room. Shauna had been taken.
If you look at the headline, reality star, model wife is missing.
There was this entity walking away from me toward the wall.
You can hear these.
Use it. I know it works.
CopperFit gloves definitely just make my life better.
I've used CopperFit before. This has helped my hands so much. These things work.
Feel better with copper-infused compression. Ask for it by name. CopperFit compression gloves.
Having good credit makes it easier to enjoy the vacation, car, or home of your dreams. Past members have seen an average credit score increase of 40 points in the first 4 months alone. Call for your free credit evaluation and recommended credit solutions.
Call 1-800-589-1650.
Welcome into the Central Regional Forecast. We will get back to you on updates for Hurricane Dorian, but we do also want to keep our friends in the North Central Plains safe too, as severe weather is in the long weekend forecast. There is an unsettled weather pattern that we'll be watching. Chicago, a quiet night now, but strong storms are in the forecast as we go into the rest of Labor Day weekend. As I mentioned, the headlines for the central part of the United States, the North Central Plains, going to get in on a very unsettled weather pattern. We could have several waves of strong to severe storm activity, and it's going to be a little cooler near the Great Lakes, definitely feeling like fall as we go forward in time. Here's the temperatures as we start off Sunday morning. A lot of the region going to be mainly in the 50s and low 60s, so almost refreshing. But as we zoom into Wisconsin, you'll notice there are some 40s that do pop up, so very crisp night to kick off the day on Sunday. Some clouds will be around and some showers as well. So as we look at central and northern parts of Illinois through Chicago and even over to Indianapolis, there's a center of low pressure that's going to fire some strong storms. And then we're also looking at kind of the backside of this, the western side, where there's that very mild air meeting some very hot air that's on the lee side of the Rockies, and that will fire some storms through portions of South Dakota and into Nebraska. As we go forward in time, you'll notice another round of strong storms around the center of low pressure back towards North Dakota, so Bismarck, even Broken Line down to Kearney. Some active weather. We're talking heavy rain, some frequent lightning, and the possibility of hail can't be ruled out. Sunday's high temperature is going to be mainly in the 80s and 90s across the board. But from Minneapolis through Wisconsin over towards Chicago, mid-70s are in the forecast. So very comfortable, even with some cloudier skies. Maybe a little cool without the sunshine, actually. As we continue into our Monday forecast, you'll notice all of those storms that fire out of Bismarck through North Dakota, South Dakota, move across Minnesota and into Iowa. That's an area that we'll have to watch for some pretty intense downpours, gusty winds, and large hail. That's where we have a risk for severe weather going into our Monday. And reinforcing cold front will try and push through. That's going to bring in a couple more showers from Rapid City up to Bismarck. And we'll be watching the U.S.-Canadian border through the Great Lakes for some storms to remain even into Monday night. So highlighted here in yellow is where we're going to be watching for some of those intense storms, some strong and severe storms to linger into our Labor Day. So if you have outdoor plans, just know that you could get a couple of waves of intense storms firing through the afternoon and evening. So Monday's high temperatures, again, that reinforcing cold front didn't do much but bring a couple more showers into North Dakota. 80 degrees down towards Minneapolis, 79, Green Bay, 76. Chicago actually warms back up to 80 degrees, and then a 10-degree spread over to Kearney. 90 is in the forecast. So when we look at the rainfall totals over the next couple of days, only up to about an inch, inch and a half, maybe 2 inches with these storms, but still some gusty winds and hail can't be ruled out, especially on Monday through the Dakotas and into portions of Minnesota. So we'll be watching for that as we go forward in time. Sioux Falls, active day on Monday, at least a couple of storms fire under the heating of the day. That will take temperatures from the mid-80s to the mid-70s, and check out Wednesday's high, only 69 degrees. Omaha, Nebraska, we have the opportunity for a shower or two, but definitely not a washout, and same sort of setup with the frontal boundary moving through. 91 on Monday, then 75 by the time we reach Wednesday. Overnight lows also go down into the mid-50s by the end of the week. Steve, a little bit different down to the south. Some of our afternoon high temperatures where you are nowhere to be seen here except for on Monday.
Now, I was going to say, bring it on in. Come on down. I'm sure folks are ready for their first fall front to try to cool things off. Thanks so much, Chelsea. Hopefully we'll have some better news coming up for you. Houston, Texas, temperatures could be nearing about 98 degrees in the coming days. Oh, yeah, the heat is on. We have had a particularly hot August for a lot of cities, including Houston, one of your hottest Augusts on record. And yeah, September is going to start right where August leaves off. Can you believe it? It's already the month has already ended. I mean, it is unbelievable where time goes. We do have a few severe thunderstorms. There is actually Gulf of Mexico moisture down here that the National Hurricane Center is monitoring for any development, but looks to stay well to the south. I'd watch that in Brownsville, Corpus Christi. Some of that moisture may leak your area this week. High temperatures on Saturday made it to 82 Dallas, not 102, probably felt like 102 in Houston, but it was 92. 96 in Corpus Christi and 81 in Oklahoma City, so a little bit cooler there near that cold front that is going to be here on Sunday. So if you look at the very far bottom right-hand side of the monitor, you see a little low with a trough. That's a low-pressure area in the central Gulf of Mexico. Luckily, a lower chance of any development there. It's drifting off to our south and west. There's enough moisture that New Orleans, Baton Rouge, areas right along I-10 over to Beaumont, Port Arthur may get some very stray showers and downpours on Sunday. That's what to watch out for. But otherwise, we're good. Upper 60s, upper 70s for lows, and upper 80s to mid 90s for highs. 96 in Houston Sunday. Here's Labor Day. There goes all that moisture just south of Brownsville. Looks like it tries to get a little bit more organized, but stays down to the south, and we stay clear. 97 Dallas on Labor Day, 93 in Little Rock, 93 in Lubbock, and 95 in El Paso, Texas. One more day to show you. It is Tuesday. Some of the moisture tries to come up here to Brownsville, Corpus Christi, and that's where parts of very far south Texas may get a little bit of heavier rain. Otherwise, we're baking in the heat out here, on average about 95 degrees outside. You'll see the rain start to add up a little bit here for sure in Brownsville. It's a lot, but it's also a small area, so that's subject to shift and change. That could be a couple of inches of rain. Otherwise, a lot of us on the dry side. So for Houston, since we began the broadcast there, you'll get up to 97 Labor Day, 98 Thursday. No end in sight of the heat as we take you through the first week of September. 99 on Friday. Lake Charles, there's your shower chance on Sunday. El Paso, Texas, it is dry as far as the eye can see. And one more for you. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, just a tad cooler, but still 95 on Tuesday. We wanted to give you a quick central regional forecast, but coming up next, a full in-depth Dorian update. Remember, you can always go to weathernationtv.com and our social media.
And you're watching live continuing coverage of Hurricane Dorian live on Channel 1 Atlanta News Now. Thank you for joining us this Sunday morning.
That could be, yeah.
Good drinks. Music we'll figure out later.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
That's it for today, Chudheads.
Can't wait for college football? Neither can we. The Chick-fil-A kickoff game opens the 2019 college football season on August 31st with the Crimson Tide of Alabama taking on the Duke Blue Devils. Kia is proud to be a sponsor of the Chick-fil-A kickoff game. Come take a look at our full line of award-winning vehicles like the new 2020 Kia Soul LX. With a completely redesigned exterior and interior, the 2020 Soul LX is ready to adapt to you. Be sure to visit your local dealer and test drive a Kia today.
When you have financial confidence, you can make room for everyone. Get rewards and more with SunTrust Advantage Banking.
You people, okay, think you know everything. You know a few things.
Want to go inside the biggest, baddest homes ever?
This is my favorite place anywhere in the world.
Now you can with MTV's Cribs on Pluto TV all day and all night.
You made it, Mom! Time for the...
It's the biggest celebs showing off their bling on bling on bling.
Make sure everybody see that.
And you get a front row seat.
This is my baby right here.
So badass is that.
Every girl has got to have one of these.
Guaranteed. Call or go online to buyfullexterior.com. That's buyfullexterior.com. Order now.
The Smart Comfort Grid works by cradling your pressure points on your hips, shoulders, and redistributing support to the rest of your body. It's soft, but doesn't sink. Supportive, but not stiff. It is so science! Purple. Thanks, science.
Thanks for joining us here on Weather Nation. We're bringing you the latest of Hurricane Dorian. Melbourne Beach, Florida, in for a great Saturday, but things will start to get a little more choppy out to sea, and we'll continue to see a better chance of impacts from Dorian as we go to the latter half of the weekend and ultimately early next week.
Could already start to see the view from the drone footage showing those swells, the ripples in the water becoming more frequent as some of the ocean swells from Hurricane Dorian reached the South Florida coastline. We have new tropical alerts that have been in effect and issued to the south of Melbourne, but watch Sunday because we spoke to the National Hurricane Center on Saturday. They said very well may issue those alerts up the eastern side of Florida.
Right, as the track of Dorian starts to move northerly, so will those alerts essentially out ahead of what could be impact from the system.
Yeah, it's a timing thing. Mostly 48 hours before the initial onset of these winds. Now, the change on Saturday night was for tropical storm warnings. That means that within 24 hours could get some of those tropical storm force conditions offshore of the Palm Beaches and just to the northeast of Fort Lauderdale. Offshore of Fort Lauderdale, Miami-Dade, and Broward counties, that is a tropical storm watch for the offshore waters, hurricane watch, offshore waters of the Treasure Coast, and tropical storm watch inland areas there for the Treasure Coast. A lot of different colors. Nonetheless, if you are, most of us are inland, so we look at these ones right in the coast, and that means tropical storm watch. Those conditions likely within the next 48 hours in those yellow areas. Forecast models, the latest suites, what we call it. All of the members of the hurricane models out for the forecast. Still a lot of them keeping the core of Dorian offshore, but you have to remember the size of this major hurricane. It's a big one. And if you're closer to the coastline, as that spins, it's going to impact the southeast coast, the east coast of Florida especially, and then we have to watch that very closely, Georgia, South and North Carolina as it moves up. One model run, just the American model. Show you the latest one. It goes right into Abaco Island, the Grand Bahama Island, where Freeport sits as well on Sunday. Monday, really close to the Florida coastline, and then parallel, either right at the coastline or offshore. Then really close Wednesday afternoon near the southeast coast of Georgia. Wednesday night, Thursday night, moving up from South to North Carolina. So key messages for the southeast: that increased threat for damaging winds, life-threatening storm surge from the Georgia basin to the Carolinas. Continue to monitor that forecast because, as you've seen in your neighboring Florida's forecast, that track has shifted back and forth, and that is just what is to be expected. We have great technology, but getting the pinpoint, exact location of a hurricane That is an inexact science at the moment, and we give all the credit to the Hurricane Center, all they're doing. 6+ inches in orange, looks to be a pretty heavy rainfall, and we'll leave you with this look of the forecast path that continues to move up the East Coast and then back out in that direction. So we did get to speak with some hurricane hunters Saturday. Really cool interview right after they landed. And here's Meredith.
And we wanted to talk to one of those hurricane hunters and kind of perspective for you of what it's like look and go into the storm, but also when they are looking for certain patterns and things to help us with our forecast, what that means. And I'm now going to be joined by Paul Flaherty, who is joining us. And Paul, can you tell us a little bit about the missions over the last couple of days? You've been flying for a while. Anything that sticks out to you about this storm?
So we've really been following this storm since its infancy, really. When we the first flight that I did, it was a mess. There wasn't a circulation above 18,000 feet, but it really has changed. A lot has changed over that time period, especially when the system moved a little bit further north and got a little bit away from the shear and a little bit away from the dry air. And so it did battle the dry air for a couple of days, but it's really moved away from all that. It's moving into an area of better conditions, and that's not good news for, right now, anyone living along the coastline of the southeast U.S.
I think we need to remind people it's a difference of miles per hour, and it's not the number that matters, but the impacts we could see from these storms.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. It's certainly true that hearing Category 5 gets people's attention, but what we really want people to know is to follow the evacuation orders that they get, because it won't matter whether it's a Category 4 or 5. You just don't want to be there if it hits your area.
Paul, when you're flying with your teammates, what are some of the things you look for or the clues to know if a hurricane is either strengthening or weakening that you can see from above?
So one of the things that you don't always get on satellite, a lot of times you can, but we can get that higher resolution information by being on the aircraft, and so we can find the areas of dry air that maybe weren't picked up otherwise or weren't observed at certain different levels of the atmosphere. We're dropping dropsondes in and around the eye wall and up at 45,000 feet outside the eye wall and the steering currents. So we are really gathering a whole lot of information for the weather models that can't otherwise be collected. So what we want to do is focus on what the forecasters believe is the biggest influences on the storm, and also where the weather models disagree most. So if we can collect data in those areas and really define how those steering currents should work in the weather models, and then find those areas where the weather models most disagree, flying in a very data-sparse area, we can find the areas where the weather models most disagree, make them agree, and that's when you see those spaghetti models all start to come closer together.
And we'll continue to watch Dorian as we go through the latter half of the weekend, but a lot of people enjoying the dry skies in Seaside Heights, New Jersey, although we could have some showers and storms get close by as we go into the end of the day on Sunday. The overall national map for rain showers does show the Great Lakes getting in on some active weather and maybe some pop-up storms farther to the south before Dorian arrives. High temperatures on Sunday, cooler and refreshing around the Great Lakes in the 70s. Typical end of August heat in the Central Plains, 80s and 90s, but then excessive heat is possible down in the southwest, where we could have some dangerous heat in the forecast. So the Northeast, again, staying in the 70s for the next couple of days, even into Tuesday, but we'll be watching for heat alerts to remain in effect and talking excessive heat warnings and heat advisories, dangerous heat through the weekend in the southwest. But stay with us. More on Dorian and your top weather headlines.
You know everything. You know a few things.
I need new struts for my 2010 Chevy. Let me see struts by AC Delco, KYB, and any under $50.
We might be able to get some struts from the warehouse. Why watch the counterman tap on his computer and hope he chooses the right part? Go to rockauto.com. Auto and body parts from hundreds of manufacturers. Choose the brands, prices, and features you want. Auto parts at the lowest price. Conveniently delivered to your home or business.
All the parts your car will ever need, Rock
Stronger? Leaner? You don't have to slow down after 40. Frank Thomas found the secret to staying in shape with the energy and drive of his 20s.
Man, you look like you could still hit it a mile.
I feel great too.
What gives?
After 40, men slow down. It's harder to stay in shape.
Why?
Our free testosterone levels drop. It happened to me, and then I found Nugenix Total T.
New Nugenix Total T is our most powerful man-boosting formula ever because it boosts your free testosterone and your total testosterone. Nugenix Total T helps provide even more energy, performance, testosterone, and muscle-boosting ingredients for even better results. To get your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, text SPORT to 231231. Samples are not available in stores.
Well, wait. We can do something about it now.
I gotta try Nugenix Total T.
Text SPORT to 231231 now for your complimentary...
880-8309. Call or visit silverbulletHose.com. So call 1-800-880-8309. Order now.
DealDash.com, the fair and honest bidding site. An iPad was sold for less than $24, a PlayStation for less than $16, and a 4K television for less than $2. Go to DealDash.com right now and see how much you can save. Remember, shipping is always free.
Welcome into Weather Nation. We're covering the top stories, of course, all around Major Hurricane Dorian. And we're going to get you right back to that coverage here in just a moment. Hang tight. It's not long, we promise. But for now, a quick check on the Western forecast. Haven't talked much about it this weekend. It's because largely it's quiet. It's hot, so I think people are flocking up to Big Sky and the mountains of Montana to cool off.
Yeah, I know. Some dangerous heat is in the Western forecast, actually. And yeah, Big Sky looking pretty good for a camping weekend. But there is also some concerns for fire risks as we continue forward in time. Wildfires are going to be a major concern this weekend. We have red flag warnings, fire weather watches in effect, and there's minimal rain showers that are going to come with the forecast going forward. So we'll be watching, again, the opportunity for some fires to easily spread. There could be burn bans in place. Just make sure you're taking the precautionary measures. You'll notice the winds over the last 24 hours have been pretty gusty. 17-mile-an-hour wind in Pocatello, 21 in Missoula, Casper at 14, and even Cheyenne at 33-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So that could easily spread fires, especially under the dry and little humidity in the atmosphere. The dry conditions with not a lot of moisture in general. Not expecting any overnight showers or thunderstorms, relatively quiet. Temperatures for the most part are going to be in the 50s to low 60s. And as we go into the day on Sunday, you'll notice some showers will fire off the higher terrain, move through Havert. There's a center of low pressure that's trying to push through, so we could have maybe a gusty storm pass through for about an hour or so. And then we have a marine layer that's building in. Seattle to Portland, even Eugene, dealing with some clouds, maybe some mist at times. Not going to be a washout weekend, but we'll have a little bit of moisture setting up in place along the coastal lines of the Pacific. Seattle is expecting a high of 76 on Sunday. Boise, 93. Pocatello, 96. Even Casper and Billings, 94. So some extreme heat also continuing. High pressures building in, so we could definitely use some rain, but we're not going to see a ton of it going forward. Maybe a sprinkle again around Seattle. We will see a little bit more sunshine going into Monday and Tuesday. And Monday night into Tuesday, we could have some storms. Once again, fire off the higher terrain and push into the plains. But we'll be watching those storms could potentially lead to severe weather threats as we look back into the north central part of the U.S. But our region looking pretty good. We could also have maybe a shower or two coming out of the south, moving into portions of Wyoming, going into the end of the long weekend and as we head back to work on Tuesday. So high temperatures on Monday for the most part stay in the 80s and 90s. Havre, though, one of the cool spots at 79. That's equal to Seattle with a marine layer and some spotty showers in the forecast. Boise, 89 degrees. Pocatello, Pocatello and Casper still in the low to mid 90s. As we go into Tuesday, you'll notice not anticipating a ton of rain, but again, 1 or 2 showers could try and push into the region from the south. Cheyenne could get in on maybe a shower or 2 late Tuesday night and overnight into Wednesday. As we look at the rainfall totals going forward in time, right on that Wyoming, Colorado, and even Utah border, there could be some showers. And then Seattle might get a 1/4 of an inch or so. Same thing in parts of Montana. About 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, not anticipating a ton of rain in the forecast. So Portland, Oregon, we start to warm back up near 90 degrees by Tuesday. You can see the average is about 79. And as we look at Missoula, Montana, temperatures 91, and they stay in the low to mid 80s all the way through next week. It's not until Friday that widespread showers remain in our forecast. But let's take a look down in Hollywood, California, where the heat is on.
Yeah, those beautiful Hollywood Hills where the Hollywood sign is. That's where we have some real big heat that's coming into parts of the southwestern United States, even for parts of southwestern California. You see so many tourists out. There's some kind of event going on. It's, well, you got the Dolby Theater right there, and on a Saturday evening, probably something going on. Maybe they heard that Chelsea Ambrose was coming to town. They're all flocking together. All right, we have preliminary information to say that the month of August in 2019 was the hottest August ever recorded at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. Now, this is subject to change and subject to verification, but preliminary information shows that Phoenix's average temperature, when you take all the lows and all the highs, was 98.5 degrees. That beats the old record of 98.3 in 2011, which was a very warm year because we broke records Saturday from 2011. So once it's verified with the National Weather Service office, we will let you know. But Grand Junction, Colorado also broke a record, actually tied it technically, 98 degrees in the western slopes of Colorado. 1997 in Eureka, California, that we had 73 degrees here in Eureka. So when you have a record, it seems cool, but Eureka is a very cool place in coastal northern northwestern California. Dangerous heat out there on Sunday and Monday, Labor Day. If you're going to be grilling out, doing any last summer weekend things, stay hydrated, stay shaded, take it easy on the body. We have excessive heat warnings that are in effect on Sunday, and some of these alerts carry through the rest of the weekend for heat advisories that go just near Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, LA, Palm Springs, and over to the Desert Valleys. Excessive heat warnings, hottest in purple. High temperatures back on Saturday. About 109 in Vegas, 95 in Salt Lake City, about 91 in Denver. And Sunday, low temperatures will be very warm. Phoenix only about 87 degrees for the minimum temperature. Hardly a cloud in the sky to begin Sunday, and we will bubble up a few isolated thunderstorms in the Four Corners, higher terrain, Flagstaff, Prescott, and into the mountains of Southern California, Southern Nevada. Shouldn't be anything too troublesome. Hopefully it'll cool you down just a little bit. Even Flagstaff sitting up several thousand feet in elevations into the 80s, 90s, and LA and San Francisco a little bit cooler there. Forecasts into Labor Day, sunny sky, a few clouds popping up, and generally quiet weather conditions, still very hot. In fact, Denver has a chance to reach its all-time hottest daily September temperature record. So any September day, any year could be broken with a high of 98 projected on Monday, Labor Day the 2nd. Now, Albuquerque also broke a record high. I didn't show you the graphic there. They reached up to about 98. They're still going to be cooking. Once again, Dorian coverage continues right after this short break. Everything you need to know from here.
When an investigation runs out of leads, it becomes a cold case. Lust, betrayal, murder. The truth takes time. Cold Case Files, a 24/7 channel, only on Pluto TV.
I guess you want a different family, a different life. Well, it isn't gonna happen. This is what you got.
All of this has been for you. To love somebody, you gotta take it and hold on to it.
Want to stay home and sing, but you don't have a good excuse?
Gonna come by?
I would, but I've got laryngitis. I mean laryngitis. My cat might die. I would, but I totally don't want to.
Get the #1 live TV streaming service for less at Sling.com.
When it comes to eggs, there's a whole lot of clucking that doesn't really mean much of anything. Other farms boast about being cage-free. Well, here at Vital Farms, our pasture-raised eggs are bull-free. Our hens get 108 square feet per hen. How much room does a cage-free hen get? About one. That's bull, ain't it?
Coachella Music Festival has come a long way since it started in 1999. That year, the festival lost $800,000, but as of 2018, it was the highest grossing festival in the world.
Channel 1 Atlanta News Now. I'm David Dutton. Hurricane Dorian is headed toward the Bahamas this Sunday morning with winds of over 150 miles an hour. For the very latest, let's go now live to the Weather Nation.
between the Abaco Islands, the Grand Bahama to Freeport and beyond, because they are getting slammed with the core of the storm. As far as the states go, Florida, tropical storm watch is in effect for the Treasure Coast of Florida. That goes from Vero Beach, Sebastian Inlet, down to Jupiter, Florida, down to West Palm Beach, all the way down to Boca Raton. Offshore waters, 20 miles to the east, hurricane watches are in effect. So here we go. First stop, unfortunately, the northwest chain of the Bahamas, experiencing a major core of that major hurricane status. And this is the GFS model, the American model, that has had a fair grip on this storm so far over the past couple of days. The latest run as of Saturday night keeps the storm a little closer to the shore, a little bit to the west of where that National Hurricane Center forecast cone is. But you can see those dark greens, those yellows, even close to the oranges, just on the eastern coast of Florida and moving up the eastern seaboard, and which could impact millions. Now, here are the winds, which are really going to be blasting. We've put the wind categories of the hurricane, top right-hand side of the legend, and it is very high, almost 100% chance that you get at least tropical storm force winds. Likely to get hurricane force winds too in the northwest Bahamas. Watch these are the wind gusts. We can start to get those tropical storm wind gusts on Monday. Labor Day for the east coast of Florida, east central coast. Hurricane gusts are still possible by and large, especially if it moves just a little bit closer to the coast. Notice how this just moves parallel, very close, a little wobble here and there, could bring in a stronger category of a hurricane wind gust in the east coast. Right now, since it's hugging the coastline there, that is something to watch for the potential for rainfall, upwards of 6 to 10 inches. Heaviest rain right now, undoubtedly, the northwest Bahamas. Feet of rain there. For us in the States, looks to be the Carolinas so far, potentially 6 to 10 inches, locally more. So a couple of extended forecasts for you in West Palm Beach. Watch that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for your biggest impacts. Up the coast a little later, Wednesday, Thursday for Charleston, and one more stop in Myrtle Beach as well, Wednesday, Thursday. To take you to above, the International Space Station's view of Dorian back this weekend. Look at a little dimple right there in the midst of the clouds. That is that well-defined eye.
Yeah, and that eye we've seen try and break down during the afternoon hours on Saturday, but really just strengthening and holding its core. And it's still churning over very warm waters, so there's no indication that it's weakening anytime soon, even with impacts directly to the Bahama Islands. Now, the latest news as of Saturday, those tropical storm watches are in effect for east and central portions of Florida. Mandatory evacuations start in Martin County as early as Sunday, Brevard County as early as Monday, the Barrier Islands as well. So we'll be watching and keep updating any of those evacuations. Make sure you're heeding the local warnings as well. Voluntary evacuations for several counties in Florida are encouraged as we go forward in time. And as we just saw, some of the intense winds could just clip the coastlines of Florida. As it gets closer to time, we'll know exactly where to pinpoint that forecast. State of emergency for 4 states now. The increasing threats are going to be for Georgia and the Carolinas as we go into the early parts of next week. We could still be looking at destructive and damaging winds, storm surges, and of course long prolonged flooding, with not only the storm surge on top of the opportunity for several inches of rain. We know in portions of Florida that the major airlines have waived changing fees, so if you had plans to come in or will be leaving Florida, you can change your flight and there's not going to be any additional costs. Big cruise lines have rerouted to stay away and steer away from the Bahamas and the Miami region, and there have already been emergency response plans activated from the Florida Power and Light companies just to make sure communications are still available to those that may need them. We know for Florida also that the threat for the western part of the state has decreased, but that doesn't mean the eastern side of the state is out of the woods just yet. Carolinas, be ready. We'll be watching again as this gets closer and closer into the first half and the middle of next week as we have that system moving up the east coast. But the Bahamas, beautiful on Saturday. Unfortunately, things are about to get very serious for the northern chains going into tomorrow.
It takes hours to make your garden grow, but some pesky critter has pilfered all your produce. Your flowers are beautiful, a sight to behold, but some terrible dog has torn up your tulips. There has to be a better way. Introducing Owl Alert, a fantastic way to target unwanted creatures today. The Owl Alert works with sight, sound, and light to zero in on nuisance critters the modern pesticide-free way. The realistic design mimics the look of a real owl. Plus, it also incorporates an ultrasonic blast that affects critters at the speed of sound. You won't hear a thing. But the ultrasonic sound waves are unpleasant to raccoon, deer, rabbits, squirrels, and even stray pets. But that's not all. It also features menacing red glowing eyes to target pests after dark. Even at night, the motion-activated glowing eyes stand guard, flashing brightly to disturb nocturnal creatures like destructive raccoons and ravenous rabbits. Once animals get within range, the motion sensor activates during both the daytime and night, triggering the ultrasonic sounds and bright glowing eyes designed for maximum effect. The sturdy, all-weather construction of the Owl Alert is built to last. It's the perfect way to watch over any backyard, daytime, nighttime, all the year round. No more smelly and messy pesticides or poisons, and no more traps that are complicated. Call now to zero in on nuisance critters the modern pesticide-free way. Get Owl Alert today for just $19.99. But wait, call now and you can double the offer, plus get a 25-foot pocket hose bullet. The lightweight hose that grows to become a full-size power hose, then shrinks back to store with ease. Just pay separate fee. That's 2 Owl Alerts and the pocket hose bullet. But you have to call or click now.
Call 1-800-709-5480. That's 1-800-709-5480 or visit by owlalert.com. So call 1-800-709-5480 now.
All right, I'm getting in the car now. I'll see you soon.
Sounds like a plan. Whoa!
Sorry, I dropped ya.
It's really dark down here.
Don't let this happen to you. The WeatherTech Cup Phone fits virtually any size cup holder.
That's better.
Order your cup phone today at WeatherTech.com.
Welcome into Weather Nation. We continue to follow the opportunity for impacts to be felt along the eastern side of Florida going forward from Dorian. We know the Bahamas are about to be pounded with a major hurricane, Category 4, potentially getting close to that Category 5 over the next couple of hours. And we've seen its track kind of waver, but well, we've got some new details coming in from the Hurricane Center this evening.
Yeah, and it's right at borderline of Category 4 or 5. To be honest, a matter of 5 or 10 miles an hour makes the difference. So overall, it's a small mile-an-hour wind compared to 150. So you're talking about a small percentage. So it doesn't make a big difference. Maybe for the number mentally, you see 5, you think differently.
Right.
But we have a scary storm on our hands, Chelsea.
Yeah, we do. And regardless, impacts are going to be the major focus, not necessarily the Category 4 or Category 5.
Right, and we're here at Weather Nation to lay out all those impacts the best we can. We do ask, as you listen to the latest forecasts, kind of get the latest advisories here with us, the latest impacts, that you check in with your local emergency officials. They'll have a much clearer idea of recommendations for you. Since we cover such a large area, it's hard to answer all of those specifics. What do I do? What about me? Questions. I would revert those over to the local emergency managers. Doing a great job there, county by county. So on Sunday, Dorian sweeps through the northwest Bahamas as a dangerous major hurricane. Then Monday, Labor Day, it approaches and basically stops east of about West Palm Beach, very close. Then starts to move northwest, north-northwest, parallel or pretty close to the east coast coastline of Florida, and then we'll have to see about the Georgia and Carolina region, if it still moves north or if it takes more of a northeasterly track. Hurricane models have been run. Here's what they look like. They look closer to the Carolinas than Florida, but there's still some outliers here and there. And even if you see the line and you're far from it, boy, the storm's big, so it has far-reaching impacts outside of just that one tiny little spaghetti model plot there. Updated arrival times of when we can expect tropical storm force winds. You have all day Sunday, South Floridians, to prepare for this. Not until Sunday night at 8 p.m. So that's fantastic news if you want to make any last-minute preparations. Palm Beach County, Broward County, and even up to the Treasure Coast. Then you have until Monday night up into northern Florida. You have until Tuesday night until the tropical storm force winds could reach Georgia and the Carolinas, even Wednesday, early Wednesday for North Carolina. Chances of getting tropical storm force winds highest right along the coast, and it's a fair chance from West Palm Beach stretching up to Wilmington. So here's the hour-by-hour forecast. Sunday morning, 11 a.m., Dorian battering the northwestern Bahamas, still moving west at a fair pace. And outside of that, we'll have a couple of spotty downpours. Maybe Sunday night, some bands of rain start to approach the east coast of Florida. But watch how Dorian was moving, and then it just kind of stops there, stalls, and starts to move to the north, very close to the coastline of eastern Florida. But still, you get those squalls, you get those outer bands of rain, the tropical storm winds, maybe hurricane gusts right at the barrier islands of eastern Florida. And then on Tuesday morning, it's moving parallel to the coast, which makes our forecast so hard and our job so hard because, if that moves a little bit, then that changes what you end up getting. So kind of be flexible with us and plans and listen out for any latest of those alerts because through Tuesday and really through the next several days, a lot of rain coming into the coast, 4 to 8 inches in yellow, 6 to 10 inches in the orange color. Highest amounts from Daytona Beach up to the Outer Banks. A couple of extended forecasts for you in Jacksonville. The days to watch are mainly Tuesday, Wednesday, but you could start to get some storminess late Monday. Charleston, delayed Wednesday, Thursday for you. Wilmington, North Carolina, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, a few days to watch. Hey, we are going to have our team coverage from the Southeast United States and from right here at Weather Nation headquarters. Make sure you stay with us as we track Hurricane Dorian. Want to get a quick check of the Northeast, what's going on? And here's Chelsea.
Yeah, as we look to the northeast, we are looking at below average temperatures for the rest of the weekend and also frost potential in Maine. We're talking temperatures that could get close to that freezing mark, but some rain showers are on the way, and that's just going to reinforce the cooler air. The severe outlook for the rest of the day, there was that chance early on Saturday from the Ohio River Valley into the mountains of the Appalachia and West Virginia. Been allowed to drop off. All of the storms have come to an end. High pressure is in control in New England, but some showers and storms are going to fire across the Great Lakes. So Pittsburgh into the overnight hours could have some storms, even over into the Maryland and West Virginia panhandle, I should say, the eastern panhandle of West Virginia. We have this warm front that's going to try and push some heat back into the forecast, but overall, rain showers are going to keep us on the cooler side of things. So to start the day on Sunday, you'll notice a lot of the region in the 50s and 60s. A couple of us, like Washington, D.C., will start at 70, but check it out. See these blues? Those are the 30 degrees that we're going to be watching for. So 36 as you get closer to the east side, 38 in Holyton, and then as you go back to the west, temperatures are going to be near freezing, where we have that frost advisory in effect overnight, expires at 7 a.m. local time. Across the board for temperatures on Sunday afternoon, mainly in the 70s, farther through the higher terrain of the mountains, and then we're looking at 83, even with showers in Indianapolis, 88 in Lexington. Check it out, 70 is the high in Big Rapids, and even up towards, I'd say, I-75, really, and then back over towards the finger of Michigan. There's like an area that gets in on those 70 degrees, and upper 60s as well. As we look forward in time, this warm front is going to try and keep the temperatures mild from Philly over to New York, but showers and storms linger Burlington back towards Bangor, and additional storms late Monday push into Boston and even New York City. So temperatures, like I said, reinforced with those rain showers, 68 in Burlington and Bangor, Boston 75, but Washington, D.C., back over to Roanoke, still in the mid and upper 80s. And we'll look at some of the rainfall totals getting close to 2 or 3 inches over the next couple of days, as it's going to be pretty wet for upstate New York. Syracuse, daily rain chances through Labor Day weekend. Dry on Tuesday, and then more storms in the forecast on Wednesday. High temperature on Thursday in Syracuse, only 69 degrees. But stay with us. We'll bring you more updates on Hurricane Dorian as we go forward.
Everyone loves the benefits of compression socks, but they're just so hard to get on. Until now, Introducing the all-new Copperfit Energy Socks, redesigned for the first ever easy-on, easy-off fit to help reduce swelling, relieve tired, achy muscles, and provide energizing support. A new blend of stretch fabric for the most comfortable, easy-on, easy-off compression fit.
Being a SWAT commander, we train to win. The Copperfit Energy Socks, they didn't feel like other compression socks. They totally exceeded my expectation.
Our most powerful copper-infused fabric, woven into our easy-on, easy-off compression sock to help reduce swelling discomfort from prolonged sitting or standing.
I'm 38 and a half weeks pregnant. Copperfit Energy Socks worked beautifully.
Extra support around the arch and ankles for increased support and relief of muscle aches and pains.
I'm so excited about these socks. I'm so much more energized to go do things after a day of work. They just slip right on, yet they still have that same compression that you want.
A soft cushion footbed for all-day comfort.
I'm on my feet at least 9 to 10 hours a day. These were fantastic. A lot of compression socks are a little too thin, especially for what I do. With Copperfit, I could wear these every day.
Feel more energized. Feel more active. Just feel better.
They just hug your leg. It relieves all the pressure that you have. I have so much energy, I can go, hey, you want to dance?
The first ever easy on, easy off compression sock. The most comfortable compression sock you will ever wear. Get your Copperfit Energy Socks now online at GetEnergySocks.com for only $19.99. Or call 1-800-378-3860. Order right now and we'll include a second pair of compression socks free.
I've never felt anything like it before.
No more pain, no more swelling, no more achy, tired feet.
I can never go back to regular compression socks again.
Don't settle for ordinary. Ask for the original by name. Copperfit Energy Socks.
Having good credit makes it easier to enjoy the vacation, car, or home of your dreams. Past members have seen an average credit score increase of 40 points in the first 4 months alone. Call for your free credit evaluation and recommended credit solutions.
Furniture that goes along the beaches, and we'll continue to monitor some of the additional impacts that could come, especially to the east coast of see this track go northerly, we'll start to feel those impacts later on early into next week along the coastline. So by Tuesday morning into Wednesday morning through Georgia and the Carolinas. So there's still plenty of time to prepare for what could come as we go forward and this system continues to take that northerly track. Storm force winds probability, even though the center of the storm will stay off off the coastline and into out to sea, I should say, we're still going to feel those tropical storm force winds from West Palm Beach, Daytona Beach, out to Jacksonville, even Charleston. So that's about an 80% chance for some strong damaging winds up all the way towards Wilmington, about just over a 50% chance, and that's as of late tonight going into early next week. So you'll notice the forecast does show this system just chucking along over the Bahamas and eventually making that northerly turn. But still, we're going to have on-flow, so the opportunity for some storm surge can't be ruled out. Plus, the wraparound rain bands going to get in on some heavy downpours with this. And the center of the storm gets, at least this model, gets pretty close to the coast. So we could still feel some of those intense winds even as we go into early next week. Then it finally takes that turn to Georgia, South Carolina, and Wilmington, North Carolina, getting in on some pretty intense action with Dorian once we get past the weekend. So eyes right now on the Bahamas and Florida, and eventually shifting farther to the north. And that's where we're going to send things over to Steve. We're going to be watching this system for several more days.
It's amazing that track that you just showed goes so parallel to the coast. It's a worst, not a worst case scenario, but it's a poor scenario, because then, you know, it just can stay strong for quite a while, and then it just affects millions upon millions. Nassau, hurricane warning is in effect, but you're on the southern end of it, still expecting hurricane force conditions on Sunday. Those were some of the recent images of some tropical downpours, not associated with Dorian, but we have them before then. We've taken a beating in the Bahamas lately, past few years. Irene, Joaquin, Matthew, Irma, all major hurricanes, and Irma, the Cat 5. So for the Bahamas, those hurricane force conditions arriving Sunday, already starting to feel tropical storm conditions as we go deeper into the night, and dangerous, life-threatening flooding rain, storm surge, and wind, all of the above, especially from the Abaco Islands and over to Grand Bahama Island itself. Waves already arriving, huge waves with this at least 20 feet high. And for the Bahamas especially, again, watching Abaco Island up first, then Grand Bahama Island, Sunday through Sunday night, then it hooks up the East Coast. We see 150-mile-an-hour winds. It is enough to do a lot of damage. All right, our thoughts will be with those folks. They've seen it coming. I know the National Hurricane Center has been working with the Meteorological Service there in the Bahamas as well. So what do you need in your to-go kit if you're preparing that and need to take action? Here is Shelley Lindblade.
Intensify without much advanced warning. This is why it is important to be prepared long before the storm strikes. A big part of being prepared is having an easy-to-carry survival kit ready to go, referred to as a go kit.
You should be able to have it, grab it. It should be somewhere where you know where it is, readily accessible, and you should be able to walk out the door with it in a few minutes and go and be able to survive for the next 3 days.
We often hear people not take the tropical storms and even Category 1 hurricanes as seriously, but we have to take each and every storm seriously. Look at those hazards it's going to produce.
It is best to store items in airtight plastic bags and to put your entire disaster supplies kit into 1 or 2 easy-to-carry containers, such as a tote or a duffel bag. So what should go in your go kit? At a minimum, we can break the essentials down into a top 10 list. The first is water, at least 1 gallon per person per day. Second, food, plenty of non-perishable, easy-to-prepare items that add up to a 3-day supply. Other essentials include health-related items such as a first aid kit, prescription medicines, blankets, and personal hygiene products. In the event of power outages, make sure to have a portable charger for electronic devices. Carry cash, as credit cards and ATMs may not work if power is out. And finally, 2 sets of identifying documents round out the list. 1 set of personal documents, such as a proof of address or a birth certificate, and also a set of emergency contacts.
If you have pets, make sure that you have things prepared and ready for your pets. Also, all of the things that you would have if they have their vaccinations and whatnot. All those things are important if you go, especially if you go to a shelter.
All of these items are inexpensive, easy to find, and most importantly, can save your life in the event that a hurricane threatens or strikes your area. For Weather Nation, I'm meteorologist Shelley Lindblade.
Excellent information. Thank you so much, Shelley. Stay with us as our team coverage is just getting started on major.
This is a clear liner. Actually, it's a nighttime clear liner. Straighten your teeth while you sleep. New nighttime clear liners, only at Smile Direct Club.
This is happening. We need a coder.
We need Yumi.
Okay, this is happening. Good. Here we go. Great.
Great. Come on. That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Better. Yes.
Okay.
Upwork. Hire freelancers, make things happen.
This cuttlefish has 3 hearts, and each one is full of concern. Overfishing, climate change, and plastic pollution are just a handful of threats to marine life. Join us in protecting our ocean. Monterey Bay Aquarium. Share the love. Share your voice.
This is Anne-Marie Peebles of La Jolla, California. Her Saturday movie marathons are a never-ending montage of comfort.
Where have you been all my life?
Namaste? Namaste right here on the couch. But then Anne laid on a Serta Perfect Sleeper and realized her life was only just sorta comfortable.
Where have you been all my life?
Not just sorta comfortable, Serta comfortable.
Kiss your old mattress goodbye and save on the all-new Serta Perfect Sleeper.
The stock is up more than 550%.
That's money in the bank.
See the town.
Millennials are an exciting generation.
A bit, yeah.
Good food, good drinks, music we'll figure out later.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
That's it for today, Chet Heads.
$856-573. Order right now and get free shipping. Plus, you'll receive the Rose Gold Flawless Body Soft Case absolutely free.
I love that I don't have to get in the shower to shave anymore.
Flawless Body, the better way to shave.
It's only a matter of time until your car needs repair.
CarShield is just the best thing to take away the fear that when something is going to go wrong with your car, because it will. And CarShield is going to be there to back you up.
Call 1-800-862-2685. That's 1-800-862-2685.
Welcome into the Central Regional Forecast. We will get back to you on updates for Hurricane Dorian, but we do also want to keep our friends in the North Central Plains safe too, as severe weather is in the long weekend forecast. There is an unsettled weather pattern that we'll be watching. Chicago, a quiet night now, but strong storms are in the forecast as we go into the rest of Labor Day weekend. As I mentioned, the headlines for the central part of the United States, the North Central Plains, going to get in on a very unsettled weather pattern. We can have several waves of strong to severe storm activity, and it's going to be a little cooler near the Great Lakes, definitely feeling like fall as we go forward in time. Here's the temperatures as we start off Sunday morning. A lot of the region going to be mainly in the 50s and low 60s, so almost refreshing. But as we zoom into Wisconsin, you'll notice there are some 40s that do pop up, so a very crisp night to kick off the day on Sunday. Some clouds will be around and some showers as well. So as we look at central and northern parts of Illinois through Chicago and even over to Indianapolis, there's a center of low pressure that's going to fire some strong storms. And then we're also looking at kind of the backside of this, the western side, where there's that very mild air meeting some very hot air that's on the lee side of the Rockies, and that will fire some storms through portions of South Dakota and into Nebraska. As we go forward in time, you'll notice another round of strong storms around the center of low pressure back towards North Dakota, so Bismarck, even broken line down to Kearney. Some active weather. We're talking heavy rain, some frequent lightning, and the possibility of hail can't be ruled out. Sunday's high temperatures going to be mainly in the 80s and 90s across the board. But from Minneapolis through Wisconsin over towards Chicago, mid-70s are in the forecast. So very comfortable, even with some cloudier skies. Maybe a little cool without the sunshine, actually. As we continue into our Monday forecast, you'll notice all of those storms that fire out of Bismarck through North Dakota, South Dakota, move across Minnesota and into Iowa. That's an area that we'll have to watch for some pretty intense downpours, gusty winds, and large hail. That's where we have a risk for severe weather going into our Monday. And reinforcing cold front will try and push through. That's going to bring in a couple more showers from Rapid City up to Bismarck. And we'll be watching the U.S.-Canadian border through the Great Lakes for some storms to remain even into Monday night. So highlighted here in yellow is where we're going to be watching for some of those intense storms, some strong and severe storms to linger into our Labor Day. So if you have outdoor plans, just know that you could get a couple of waves of intense storms firing through the afternoon and evening. So Monday's high temperatures, again, that reinforcing cold front didn't do much, but bring a couple more showers into North Dakota. 80 degrees down towards Minneapolis, 79, Green Bay, 76. Chicago actually warms back up to 80 degrees, and then a 10-degree spread over to Kearney. 90 is in the forecast. So when we look at the rainfall totals over the next couple of days, only up to about an inch, inch and a half